And I mean, off the back of that, you said ignore that at your peril, which I agree with. But what do you think are going to be some of the biggest challenges that future employee experience leaders are likely to encounter?
I think that we always going to have this. I think the challenge that's emerging right now is that so we want to be massively inclusive, and we want lots of perception and empathy to arrive. But we also know that that can take a lot of time and a lot of effort, and a lot of takes a lot of kind of distraction. So it's about finding balance. The one thing is for me, and the other one is which is kind of emerging. My thoughts and gives me some uneasiness is that what people say they want, or what they believe they want, and what they actually want when they make a choice can be quite different. So and also often absent of other pressures. So it's not a perfect equation. It's an example would be if you ask a lot of people, do they want to get paid more, they'll go, of course we do. But when we're not putting the other side of the equation there is, well, we do need to keep a job as well. We need to keep a profitable business. And these are some of the challenges. And then ultimately, it's also really quite idealistic sometimes. So, if I feel that I would trade an experience, so it's, there's something around competing values here. And so it's introducing those competing values into that human-centered approach, which is so important, because we're going to have to trade off of these things. It's very easy to claim what you want in the absence of a constraint. And I think we're going to have to somehow introduce that into the process at some point. And we've learned this from intergenerational work as well. So when you ask, when at some stage we spent a huge amount of time asking millennials what they wanted from the workplace, and they came with incredibly idealistic responses, which really were inspiring. However, when they made their choices, and when they do make their choices, they make them for different reasons. So, we do need to have this ability to listen to everything, and that I think is going to be incredibly hard. But the real opportunity is that technology can help us. This one.
Yeah, absolutely, a real data-driven approach on that. So that's quite interesting. I mean, that's a very different perspective to what I've heard from some of the other people that I've interviewed, which is why I love doing this. So off the back of that then, Steve, what are the new skills that you would advise that a future employee experience leader learn and master? Because that's what you've mentioned is quite a diverse spectrum.
Yeah, it's probably not a very popular choice, in terms of the sort of the latest sort of thinking around this stuff, and it's deeply non-democratic in some ways, because the whole idea is to democratize this thing, and I love it. I love that idea. I think it's just dangerous that we do it in a vacuum. So for me, the big skills, we've always, I think there's no doubt, the number one thing to do is to really work on yourself as an individual, deep self-awareness, challenging your assumptions, assuming that somebody knows more than you, regardless of whatever bias is emerging. So really tapping into how you physically and emotionally respond to certain things, and learning more about yourself is fundamentally crucial in this, because it's still more important than all the other stuff I've mentioned. The other person's views is still more important than that. The other one, to sort of tap into the other side of the equation that I'm speaking to, is to understand how to engage with data. And that doesn't mean we have to become data analytic geniuses and data scientists. I think what it does mean is we have to learn to ask the right questions of those professions, and to push them into that space. and then at the same time understand the difference between active listening and passive listening. Ideally, what is somebody's perception versus what's their actual behavior. These are things we're going to have to learn from it, and I don't think we'll get it right, but which kind of leads me to the last skill, which is we need to be really comfortable with experimentation. So, for me, it's the three things: empathy, like I imagine most of the people you speak to will say. The next one is engaging with data and data scientists, and the last one is being really comfortable with experimentation.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's been an incredibly interesting journey so far in this first season. Is that, like I say, nobody's come up with the same challenges, and all of the skills have mostly been completely different, all the way from marketing and communications and sort of, as you say, data, some of the things that are non-traditional HR. And then, but everybody has spoken about mastery of self in some form of the other. So there have definitely been some very interesting difference and sameness in all of the interviews, which has been great.